falls like a mirror. Surroundings change when one changes inside. Then what of the planet? When many change, not just one.
I've always thought this band was about urgent music of reform. Save the humans. We'd like the people to respect the world again.
Yeah. Well, raising the vibration of everybody, our bodies, our minds, our thoughts, our frequencies in general.
If you tell me how to breathe, then I will surely start to see. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Open wide.
So about all that's different, and your Pro Tools system as well. Pro Tools system, sure.
So this is the main room here. This is where everything happens. Generally we record drum tracks in here and put vocalist, guitar player, bass player in the control room.
Yeah.
They go direct because when the drummer's bashing away in here, everything bleeds into the microphones, and so you got to isolate that guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've got a couple ISO boosts set up here for amps and things like that, but for doing rock drummers hit so hard that it's still gonna bleed. We got to use this old Lesage piano there on a track not that long ago, and that was pretty cool.
It's beautiful.
We call it boogie woogie kind of thing that we were doing on there. And that
nice.
was pretty
Boogie woogie.
cool. Yeah, boogie woogie.
Hello, Rick Irvine.
Hi.
This is a producer at Chess Ladder Records, and I've been working with Rick since 2003. Yeah, you used to be at an old studio.
11 years ago.
11 years ago.
On Pinewood and Westwood.
In Prince George.
In the basement of our house.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Good times.
Good times. Yeah.
That was a lot of fun, that CD.
Oh, the Pure CD?
Yeah, I really liked it.
Thanks.
A lot of different players on it.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a lot different than Heavy Metal Nature Girl.
It wasn't a band, it was a bunch of hired guns.
Exactly, yeah.
As opposed to the band I brought in, and Nick as well. So Rick, I was wondering, what was your favorite song from the Pure album back in 2003 to the 2005 era when we were recording?
I like Butterfly.
Yeah.
I like the dynamics of it. Starts up very soft, and builds, and comes back down. And as well, I got some good feedback on it from other people about it. The best song on the record.
Did you enjoy recording Pure or Heavy Metal Nature Girl more?
Well, I enjoyed Pure a lot. They're two completely different records because one was recorded, you know, when I first met you, and we were developing the songs in the studio, piece by piece, part by part, with a lot of different players on it. And but Heavy Metal Nature Girl was a band, and you know, it was performance, and you guys came in and you had the songs nailed, right? And it was just a matter of getting a great take and going with that, and that's how I like to record. So I mean, it's two different things that happen there. I tend to think of songs as like babies, and they grow up to be children and finally adults, and you push them out the door and they're done, right? But there's two ways of making babies. There's the old-fashioned way,
Which is...
and there's the test tube way. The old-fashioned way is a lot more fun, and that's when you get a band in a studio and people play together and music happens, right? Rather than putting music together piece by piece, and you know, I mean, it's still, I'm nothing against test tube babies and test tube records. They turn out, but they turn out differently, right? It's just making them's a lot more fun the old-fashioned way, in my opinion, than doing piece by piece. And it's got the live energy. I think the whole CD has a lot of live energy because it was a live band. Absolutely night and day difference, improvements, but at the same time there's something about, you know, the fresh young Shannon with her little Yamaha Porter keyboard thing,
Yeah.
and you came into the studio and you're, this is my song, and, you know, and it developed on from there. You know, we just developed it.
When we first started, it was just kind of lawn stuff, acoustics, and so Shannon was used to kind of singing by herself and not really pushing. So that was the chore for us, is to get Shannon to sing harder and stronger. And so we got electrified, got in the rehearsal room and cranked our instruments and our amps up so that she had to fight to be heard. And then she started ringing, and her voice started to come along really well after that. Then we started gigging, and it was good. We killed them wherever we went, so it was good.
I saw massive improvements. I mean, you went from sit at home, play your keyboard, play acoustic guitar and songcraft, to being a stage performer. I still miss those days, right? The early days, that was pretty cool.
I remember you telling me at one point that you were happy that I was working with a band, but you said, you know, back in the day when it was just you and your acoustic guitar, you really had something there.
There's a lot to be said for a song to be able to stand on its own that way. Shouldn't need a lot of production. If it can't stand on its own without a lot of production, you know, maybe you need to work on that.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, that's what was cool about your music, is that you wrote it so it would stand on its own, and you could perform it that way. You didn't need a band to perform your songs at that time, and you did perform that way. Academy for a year, did the digital analog recording arts program there. Tried to get my foot in the door into a big recording studio down there, and that's a tough racket. There's a lot of guys that would love to be recording engineers. I thought about taking the second year, and then I thought, well, why spend $10,000 on a second year when I could take $10,000 and invest it in recording equipment and do it myself, right? Nothing against Columbia Academy. I mean, I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot, but it doesn't make you a recording engineer. Recording makes you a recording engineer.
This studio and everything that it stands for, and like what he's done, he's shown a more organic and open and caring part of what a studio is than this big industry structure.
We must have spent 1,000 hours in the studio together.
Yeah.
And I don't regret any of it. I mean, it was all great fun. I mean, you're an awesome person to be around, so appreciative, and I mean, you know, you couldn't ask for a better client, really, you couldn't. Big gaping hole in Chest Ladder Records when you moved down to Vancouver.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, then I better come back and do some more recording.
Yeah.
And I feel the same about you. You couldn't have been more easygoing, more fun to work with, more helpful to your artists. You're always helping us. You always do so much for us, you know, and you don't ever overcharge. You, if anything, undercharge, and we give you more because you're so giving.
You know, Rick has been one of the few studios I've ever worked at where he's so laid back and easygoing.
The purpose should be to help, you know, the local music scene and the local musicians.
He's giving back to the community, and, you know, like he mentioned, that he does this for a passion and not for money, and there just needs to be more of us like that.
So how would you describe your experiences with Rick Irvine?
Rick Irvine is an angel. He's the kind of producer who, you know, he's sitting at the helm and he's recording your material for you. So he's not about to impose his opinion unless it's really, really necessary. And sometimes it is, and he's always right. So we had a really good dynamic there where if I would listen to him if I needed to change something, no problem, or add something. One time, actually it was What We Give, he wanted to make it shorter. So we actually sat down and shortened the song and rearranged it a bit so that it could be more radio friendly, because I think it was more like 6 minutes, and then we shortened it to under 4 minutes. He's brilliant, and he's kind. He's like such a soul brother. I really can't express my gratitude enough. You have a name for Vancouver.
Oh, Bang Groover?
Yeah, Big Bang Groover.
Big Bang Groover, yeah.
Love it. I don't know if you want to talk about the gorilla suit, though.
No.
Okay, let's
No.
not then.
Or the clown outfit.
Oh, the clown out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or the Pink Panther outfit.
Okay.
I don't even want to ask.
And I played with Eric before quite a while.
This is your original song? You wrote this with Eric?
And then Eric surfaces again in my life, in my musical life anyway, for a few more years, and that was fun. That was a lot of fun playing with Eric again.
Eric, you know, great guitar player, got a great sound. He comes equipped with his sound. He's not one of these guys that's can you make me sound like Eddie Van Halen? No, he sounds like Eric, and he's got his Les Paul and his, Plexi Marshall stack, and, that's rock and roll right there. And he's a seasoned player, he's played live for years, and he records himself at home as well, so he knew what he was doing when he came in and what he wanted, and there was no fussing around trying to get his sound. It was, he had that nailed.
Can you tell me a little about Eric? What was he like? How was working with him?
Eric was a leader, a serious leader, and he always told me to hone my craft. And honestly, over the years, since working with him, I could see that that was the best advice anyone could have ever given me. Hone your craft. And so that's what I did back when I was working with those guys, and even still, it's probably a lifelong process, but so I took his advice that way. I loved his style. He had this, Eddie called it upstrums. He would do these upstrums. He had a really great tone on his guitar, and made my songs sound so good because of this tone. He was able to combine 80s and 90s sounds and create his own unique sound, and it was super heavy, grungy, rockin', really fun and upbeat. It was the perfect sound, and he always knew what was right and what was maybe a little off in a song, so you could always turn to him to get a really good opinion of quality. He's a quality musician.
Eric was great. Like as Rick said, he had his own sound. He didn't come in and he wanted to be forced into just some cookie cutter sound, whatever. He came in, I remember him bringing in his big Marshall JCM 800s, and he was determined to have that sound and work with that. And Eddie just had flow and organic touch, and the two of them together, and my drumming, it really melded with your voice, and it all worked together as one uniform sound.
With Eddie, great guy, and a seasoned player, played, around for a lot of years around Quesnel and around the north.
Yeah.
And, same thing, had great gear, had a great sound. Those Kubicki Factor basses are awesome, that he's got one of those, and, it's not hard to get a good sound out of that bass.
Eddie's style? Foundation of rock and roll, baby. He's very confident, well versed in all sorts of music, and he's very comfortable on stage, and he enjoys himself up there, so it's always a pleasure to play with someone like that.
So how was working with Eddie? What was he like?
Eddie is a riot. He's a lot of laughs. Eddie loves to tell stories, and his stories are usually hilarious and extremely entertaining. He's a kick-ass bass player. You couldn't really ask for better in a bass player. He's got years and years of experience to draw upon. He used to talk about making his bass sound like a diesel engine, especially in What We Give. Whoa, 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 he would say. And Eddie lived the 60s. So, talk about kind of one of the cooler times on the planet. So, he's always got stories about the 60s, and to have someone like that in your band. He's young at heart. He may be, I don't know how old he is, he's probably 65 now. But he's young at heart, and he's forever young, and an absolutely kick-ass bass player. So I'm really hoping he'll do some touring with me. I think he's somebody that will come in and out of my band possibly always.
Hit it, Eddie. Trillium, run the floor,
have to say working with Eddie was probably one of the greatest things, because he was such a solid bass player. Not only like one of the nicest bassists I've ever worked with, like, don't get me wrong, you know, musicians in general are good, but it was a whole new thing, because at that time when I was recording Heavy Metal Nature Girl, I had only really worked with one or two bass players, so I kind of got used to being in that loop and that structure with their playing. And when I recorded the CD, it opened up for me playing with new musicians, and Eddie was just a great start for, you know, working into something new and different, because bassists and drummers are such an essential thing to be very tight and locked together.
Nick is a pro, right?
Absolutely.
Nick, he's an amazing good drummer, and I connected with him immediately, and it was just great. You know, you didn't have to teach him anything. You didn't have to worry about where he was going to go. You just kind of, you could feel it. You could feel where it was going to end up with him all the time. He's a natural drummer.
So how was working with Nick Tyndale?
Nick Tyndale is a professional to the nth degree. He's all over his 14-piece kit, just giving her. And I'm really honored to work with him too, because he's hired by the pros who come through Prince George. And I really think that he should come down to Vancouver. I've been telling him that for years. Either way, he's a big fish in a small pond. He's going to be a big fish no matter where he goes, because he's so good and so talented. And I remember Eddie and I watching him years before we recorded this album. Eddie and I just went to a random pub in Quesnel, and we were watching this band play, and Nick was the drummer. And we just noticed he was so finessey, he was just so light on the sticks that he could do anything. And that kid, I think, was smaller than the one that I see him play in the studio. So, I mean, yeah, he's very versatile, and I'm excited to take him on tour. We've discussed that numerous times, so I'll take him touring.
Planet-wide bliss, planet-wide awareness, getting the pyramid, close the lid, countdown, ascension. The sun cave, the legends say, cycles of 12,000 years.
So ever since Heavy Metal Nature Girl, I've had a lot of opportunities, and it's just been a lot of luck.
No, you kick ass.
It's mostly just having musicians come here. I've worked with two-time Juno Award winner Kenny Blues Boss Wayne. I've actually done 3 shows with him. Also played with a guy named Brandon Isaac. He's won quite a few awards, and he's been another one of those guitar players that have just been unreal. He actually just released one of his albums, and I think it was up for a Maple Blues Award or something like that. And the last guy that I got to work with, which was one of the most insane things, is John Lee Saunders, who was, I think, 1 or 2 Grammy nominees, and it was something completely different. It was Cajun Latin blues.
You played drums on Inside Out, What We Give, and Ascension. Yes. What was your favorite?
Ascension, hands down. And the reason is you originally had more of the input with the drumming with that one, and I really liked it because it was something structured differently, because we had done the toms with that. And just that constant rolly toms on like the floor alternating over the crashes with the double kick was something really unique, and you don't hear often in songs used. Like, it was a very kind of tribal floor tom march, and it had a lot of power and impact.
Mind bend, time warp, sweet harp, playing, staying, planet-wide bliss, planet-wide awareness.
Marching beats are usually structured around a snare drum, where the tribal kind of sound is more with the floor toms. When I recorded Heavy Metal Nature Girl, that was my 7th album I have recorded, and I'm now at my 13th album. It was great working with you because we had got to practice, and we had really had an arrangement with the music before we came in. I wish I'd been on more tracks. That would be the only thing that would have made it better. But
Yeah, Mike and Joey.
yeah, they both did an excellent job too. So I it was great either way, and that gives it a bit of variety and depth because we were all differently structured as players.
So how was working with Joey?
Joey hardcore. Joey was my first bandmate. He asked me to start a band back in 1999, and we proceeded to play in bands, and I did my first gigs with Joey, and I did my first recordings with Joey at Jeff Cathcart's place. Joey was always super creative to work with. He was always reading magazines. He had his nose in magazines. He'd read about all the other drummers, and he would take a lot in. I think that was cool. He did his homework. I enjoyed watching him improve too, because we worked together from 1999 to 2002, and then again in 2012 and 2013. And so for the Heavy Metal Nature Girls CD release parties, Joey was there for me, and him and Mitch were good friends. So it was actually Joey that introduced me to Mitch Peterson. The three of us would play and rehearse. I felt that Joey's drumming had improved immensely from the earlier days, and he was always really good back then. So to see the incredible improvement that he'd made in over a decade, and then work with him again while he was, he became such a hard-hitting rock drummer. It was impressive, and I'm really proud of him. So, you mastered Heavy Metal Nature Girl in 2012.
Yes.
And I'm, of course, curious, what was your favorite song?
It's hard to pick because they all have really distinct sounds, and they're they're all unique. But to me, You Tell Me actually is kind of a standout track. Just really hooky. It just feels good. It sounds like it belongs on the radio. I like that one, but I like them all.
So out of your whole album, Heavy Metal Nature Girl, what would be the song that you're most proud of?
It would be What We Give. That song is really special to me. As a songwriter, I felt that when I had created it, I had really created something strong and original and something a bit different, a little bit more aggressive than the other songs. And I really love the harmonies in the end of the song, and it's a really challenging song to sing. So I always enjoy doing it. And sometimes when I listen to the whole album, I won't listen to What We Give because I just don't want to get tired of it. I love it so much. And I also really love Ascension. I love the whole album, but Ascension is a part fantasy, part reality, and I was reading a whole bunch of interesting books that inspired that song, and so I really love that tribal beat too that's in there. So those are my two favorites.
I really enjoyed mastering it. It's fun to come in kind of at that toward the end of the process and bring some of that objectivity to it, because it's typically when I'm producing or doing an entire record, you're making so many decisions, and there's so many details, and sometimes you can get a bit lost in the forest. And with this, for everything, it's all been mixed and it's done, and just to kind of hear and shape everything to make it a contiguous whole. And there were spots that were a little bit challenging because with it being recorded in a few different environments and times and people, and make it all hang together and make it a good listen from front to back. But I had a ball working on it.
I really want to thank Michael Nowak from Saga Recording Studio here in Vancouver for mastering the album. He had a real challenge on his plate, and I think he did an amazing job because, as he says, he had songs that were recorded in different studios at different times. So to put those all into one album and make it all harmonious was a challenge, but he's an awesome guy, and I look forward to recording some songs in his studio too with him.
There were 3 separate drummers. They were all really good players, and they all, had a good aggressive push to it, and a lot of, especially with this kind of music, you want that, the drums are really a big driver. But I thought, it was all top notch.
Surroundings change when one changes inside, then what of the planet
and low cloud of our actions. Are we proud to bring this upon ourselves? The fifth son for humanity. No more comparison.
And how about working with Gonzalo with the hand drums?
Gonzalo, he was amazing. Really good touch on the instrument, a very musical sensibility, and again, really, you know, there was a bit of a need for that element in the song, and he really, you know, really put that in there, and it helped support the song and made it stronger.
Any comments on working with Travis Valentine on Ascension and those little riffs we added near the end?
Travis did a great job. He came in and just some of the little colors and things that he added on top were definitely the icing on the cake for that song.
The pyramid, close the lid, countdown, ascension. The sun cave, the legends say the cycles are.
That genre of music that kind of was heavy and soft.
I'm a video game for the gods. Where am I gonna go next? Video game for the gods. Just trying to do my best. Trillium grandiflora. Pulmonaria longifolia. Sevenensis. Asarum europea.
Was on the back burner, but playing with Shannon breathed a little new life into my music.
So how was working with Mitch Peterson?
He's adding bass lines and he's adding guitar riffs and he's adding pieces that just totally worked with my songs, and I loved that. It was really enjoyable also to have him in the rehearsal space because he would choreograph and he would direct me on what guitar parts to come in on and when to hold back. So there were certain songs that it actually took him saying, okay, I'm going to carry the song through, but when I'm doing the solo, you play this part. I loved working with him. He's probably one of my favorite musicians to work with ever.
Now today, things are as they may. Come what may. I feel this in every way. Oh yeah. From nothing, run away. Here I choose to stay.
they were pretty good since we hadn't had much chance to practice and stuff. These guys worked really hard learning their parts, but it still takes a lot of rehearsal for a band to gel. And I felt that, you know, if we were to be given the time and the locales were closer, that could have been a really good, strong band. You know, I had that sense from both of those. I was very satisfied with the way those gigs turned out, in spite of the fact that we only had a couple of practices together with these guys. It's hard to teach them all those parts. You know, they can listen to your records, but that's not how we do them. We do them our own way with Eric and with Mike and with everybody. We did things our own way, and we changed things up a little bit. So they learned what was on the records, but that's not what we were doing. So it was kind of hard to have like 2 or 3 practices with these guys and fill their heads with enough information that they could pull it off, and they did, because they were both good musicians, of course, so that was helpful.
I'm at the next level. What really matters is peace of mind, peace of mind. Oh yeah, things have changed. Yeah, life is strange. Finally, peace of mind.
Talk about working with Eddie long distance.
It is a solid locomotive of the bass. So there was no real problems there. He knew the stuff. And when I showed up, I was like, thank God you're here, Eddie.
On a day like today, woo! It's not simple.
Eddie knows how to deal with people. He's been around bands. He knows that, you know, the horses get spooked. It happens. But he's a real even keel kind of guy.
Yeah.
So it was a real joy to have him around. He brought everybody back to earth.
Mm-hmm.
He was sitting there just doing his thing on the bass.
I offer nothing.
He taught me how to handle Shannon.
We had a title for you, Joey and Mitch and I was wondering if you were okay with it. We called you the Admiral from Star Trek, of course, because out of absolute 100% respect and admiration of your talent as a bass player.
Beam me up, Scott. Was our drummer for quite a while, and he and I have been in a couple of different bands together. Really enjoy Mike's drumming. He's a guy I connect with right away, you know, and I don't have to wonder where he's going. I always know where he's going.
So how would you describe Mike Van Aert? How was working with him?
Mike is a technical genius and a computer genius and an engineer, so he's really brilliant. Like Eric, the two of them are very technical minded, and it was like working with 2 geniuses. We always would joke about how we turned a country drummer into a rock drummer, because he never played rock until he worked with us. And I became very close with his family because we played at his place. All of our rehearsals, the entire 5 years I worked with those guys, was at Mike's place.
Ladies and gentlemen, directly to the Go-Go in LA, right after this show, please welcome the Shannon Matter Band.
Thank you very much.
Got any descriptions for the songs?
Combining the molecules of musical notation together in different combinations to come up with a solution of melody.
Chemistry and music.
Chemistry of music.
Nice.
My favorite quote from Eddie was, Shannon, you're gonna have to have big shoulders to change the world.
I think it would have to be Peace River.
Nice.
We played really well that night, and it was just a weird place to play because it was 20 below out, and it was on a lake, a frozen lake, with a bunch of circus tents set up, and people would skate in to the bar, and skate up to the bar and order a beer and skate over to their table. When they got up to dance, they had skates on, so it was a really weird, different thing to do, and it was something I'd never done before. So it was a lot of fun, that one.
Quinnell I really truly enjoyed for the road trip and the companionship that we shared on the way up. It was nice in Lockdale Hall that we were able to play in our community and really rock out in the city. Although Quinnell just really seemed to have that road trip and that certain feel.
How do you feel about the first leg of the trip?
I like it.
There's a standing tree. Beside the tree, yeah. I like it. Okay, let's see that kick again.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Guess who the heavy metal nature girl is?
Yeah. Can we tell?
That's cool. That'll be unique.
I know, I love your toes, Jackie.
Sandals.
Thank you.
Yes, that's what gave me the idea. Joseph Mahone, tell us a little bit about your story. The hard-hitting, heavy-handed motherfucker that hits the skins like no one else and wins every time.
Not easy. That's all I have to say.
Have you got a humble hockey speech for us?
I'd say keep your stick on the ice and your head up.
Just go in there every day and do what we can and hope we get a win and, you know,
hopefully get an assist or two.
That was cool because she said all right as we left the tunnel. Oh, that was so cool.
The medicine man cleans the wounds of the world. And Mother Nature sings with all her heart, with all her heart. She speaks in magic, we see her all day, creating the signs, showing the way. She speaks in magic, we see her all day, creating the signs, showing the way.
Action News wants to talk to you about the fire.
Did you get that on film?
I sure did.
Awesome.
What are your thoughts on the fire?
I thought it looked like Mordor.
Mordor and
Really cool. Sad,
the,
but pretty
the
awesome.
throes of the volcanoes of Gandalf
It was beautiful.
and the evil eye. It was beautiful, wasn't it?
It was like, I'm gonna write a song called Fire on the Mountainside.
Fire in the mountainside. Give me the fire in the mountainside pose. Fire in the mountainside. Stop 2 on the journey to Quesnel. Thoughts, Shannon Matter. Excited. Doing the jumping jacks.
I'm just getting my blood flowing because I have to drive the whole way.
Blood flowing. Which way is Quesnel? Nice. Quesnel is that way. All right.
I said to Annabelle when we left, I'm like, I know I'm forgetting something. So I get to Mitch's, and he's like, oh, can't forget the blankets. I'm like, oh,
Oh, good
Blankets.
job. I forgot all about that.
pillow. Fuck,
You got
I
'em?
forgot it.
But did you stop and get them or no?
No, I was gone already.
This kid.
So, you're gonna share?
Yeah,
Snuggle up here in his pajamas.
I've got these really big pajamas. There's room for 2 of them. We're gonna snoodle right inside of those guys.
Noodle.
Yeah.
This is still wet, Mitch. His blanket's wet. And he's
Hey.
like, oh, it'll be dry by the time we get there. It's still wet. I'm like, no, it's not yet. I'm like, I don't think it is. I don't think it's gonna.
Why don't you
Don't
put it in the wind?
don't be a
He's
wet
gonna be the wet
blanket.
dog. I'm gonna use his blanket.
Yeah, you get the wet blanket.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you get over everything. So it's like flat, it's like spread out instead of folded up.
I thought we could tack it on your car.
Like a flag.
Blow in the wind.
It would be dry in no time. Which one is it?
It's the ugly one here.
Yeah, put it over top of everything. I would say, yeah, unfold it out.
Okay, Jackie, make your really cool face.
Am I really cool?
Yeah.
I'm thinking Aaron.
I don't know what that is. Yeah.
That was it.
Spread it out.
What was that, Shannon?
I'm sorry for being upset that you drove right past us sleeping at the Alamo when I told you 1,000 times to come to the Alamo.
All right. So
And I wanted you to film the Alamo because it's cool.
my last communication, of course, was I don't know where the Alamo is, so you're gonna have to text us or phone us and let us know when you're there, so we know when to slow down and look for the Alamo. Otherwise, in the dark, Kersley and the Alamo actually occur as blinks of an eye.
I am sorry that
I'm tired around midnight, and I thought I'm gonna go to bed. But then, well, you're almost at the Alamo. Or you're 20 minutes out of Williams Lakes, just stopping for a quick
Someone
pee.
punch her.
So, someone punch her. See, we sent the
It's your
text to
fault.
Eddie. Did you hear that? He's like,
Yeah.
we're at the Alamo. He got the text.
Ah,
Thanks
right.
for
Jackie's
sending
half
us the
asleep, handed
text.
me her phone. I
So
hit.
we were waiting for her to text us, and we kept driving.
I like your hair though.
I like your skirt, by the way, Shannon.
Oh, thanks, guys. Well, this is hilarious.
Night vision, eh?
We're here.
Well, anyway, here's your home.
Let's get you in.
All right.
And, well, we're going to the hotels downtown.
Oh, at the Billy Barker?
Yes.
We were already there.
Did you go look at it?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm
Already
glad.
there.
See, that's meant to be then.
Where's Jackie?
She's sleeping in the car.
Oh, is she? Aw.
She's sleeping.
This is my bed.
Shannon, will you edit this out?
Cute, cute guys. Cute, cute faces.
Right now. Edit it. I don't know. Drive around. See where's his truck at? It's 5 hours till showtime. All right, say hi there, Jackie. And say hi. Hello.
Would you like to pick a card?
All of them?
You can just pick one. Whatever one you think.
There she is.
Miss America. Does he hold on to her room key for me? Yes.
I did that barn dance in.
the Chilliwack.
No, in where was it? Trail.
Yeah, but they were throwing
wow.
tomatoes. They ended up throwing rotten tomatoes at him.
What?
Yeah, they ended up throwing rotten tomatoes
You
at
did
him.
not. You're
No,
joking.
I wasn't there.
Oh, such
I wasn't there. I did that barn dance down in where's the smallest town you ever heard of?
That's how it
Right there.
I just can't wait to play cowbell. I want to play cowbell.
Fucking cow. This song is one you may know if anybody listens to grunge music or Seattle music. And it's going out to all the people that were saying bad things about me the other day, and my brother busted them and said, "That's my effing sister you're talking about." Because you're president. Oh, nice one. He's relating to us women. Twisted bra strap. Nice. I honor my anger, channeling the good. Fucked up shit, babe. Bang my head to loud guitars and meditate and pray. Don't lose the anger. Give me true.
fear. Change is near, reflecting all the change within. The individuals like a mirror, surrounding change. When one changes inside, then God of the planet. When many change, not just one.
What's beyond the broken fence?
Panty shot. Another panty shot.
Standing tree.
Like changing the world, like there was a lot of power in the lyrics and interesting lyrics.
The thing I like about your music is you write stuff, like a lot of music gets structured into your two typical things. It's, you know, it's all about love, or it's all about, like, you know, stuff that happens with people, where you write about a cause. And a lot of people don't. Our world is changing, and people need to change for the world, or the world is going to change in a way that's not going to be good for us. So that's definitely something I like about your style of writing, because you write about our causes and our future as people being on this planet, right, and how we need to be better to the environment.
It's very, very refreshing to hear the new sort of thinking on it. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's thoughtful, it's informative, it's socially conscious. It's not necessarily political, but it's strong stuff. Why do you like doing that? Why aren't you just playing fucking party?
Because that's just old and done, and it's the old world. The new world is like, let's push forward, let's change as a culture and as a race, as a society.
Darkness and low cloud of emergence, always proud, bringing upon ourselves a gift for humanity. Iron Man, time warp, sweetheart, playing, staying, planet wide, west, planet wide, awareness.
Well, you've been great to work with. I've really enjoyed your positive energy and the fact that the music is very it's very you, and it's, you know, it's not like you decide, okay, I want to be the next superstar and I'm going to copy this trend and I'm going to try to get on top 40 radio. That you're doing something organic and from the heart, and something that, you know, means something to you, making art first and then trying to get it out there and let people hear it, and you know, so that's, you know, I wish I had more clients like you.
It's a bit of a revolution.
I can always fantasize, but in this moment choose to live my life.